Hello and welcome to episode 83 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark, and joining me on today's episode is the actor Daniel Webber. I was first introduced to this guy's acting when I watched the TV series 11/22/63. Being a huge fan of Stephen King, I'm always a bit dubious about some of the adaptations that go to TV or go to film, but this was one of the best ones out there, and to see his performance as Lee Harvey Oswald so well done, I was very impressed, and I thought this is a guy I'd love to get on the Mark and Me podcast. Since I've enjoyed his work in The Punisher, one of the best Netflix series out there, as the part as Lewis Walcott, and most recently playing Vince Neil. Man, the film and the book of The Dirt, based on the life of Mötley Crüe, is outstanding. It's a huge role for him, and a really, really tough role to tackle, but I think he did it justice and absolutely nailed it. He was over in the UK recently, and he's doing a lot of promotion for Escape from Pretoria alongside Daniel Radcliffe, and that gave me the opportunity to sit down and do this interview. So as always, I think it's really good to get to it. Here's me and Daniel Webber. Thanks for joining me today on the Mark and Me podcast. I want to start by taking it back right to the start of your early career, and when you were growing up, was it you wanted to be an actor straight away, or was it later on in life that you became an actor?
It was definitely later in life. Awareness that the people moving about, talking and dancing on the screens had a profession. I just enjoyed it as entertainment, and then, I came across acting in high school, and I fell in love with it, and I did quite a few stage plays growing up. About year 11, year 12, I decided that I sort of wanted to do that for a career.
And was there some sort of early films that you were watching that you were obsessed with, that you kept watching and falling in love with?
I mean, if we're going to go all the way back, I'd have to say something like Star Wars.
Nice.
It'd have to be a big one, maybe The Goonies.
Oh, great films.
Probably like every other boy.
And was there certain actors that were sticking out that made you then think, that's what I want to do?
No, because like I said, I genuinely did think about it as a career at that stage. But, I've got a very adventurous family, and so we go hiking a lot in New Zealand and throughout Australia, and sort of around this time, things like Lord of the Rings came out, and so, it's not a very long leap for a young kid who's got a good imagination to sort of put themselves in those shoes and start to, wish they were telling those sort of stories. So that's sort of how that came about. I fell in love with that type, that fantasy world.
You were involved in, obviously, 11/22/63, which is one of my favourite Stephen King novels. How was it when you were reading that and obviously preparing for such a big part?
Well, that was my first role in America, so the whole process was absolutely thrilling, really. I got the role, and I had about 2 months of prep time before I went across to Toronto to film. So, yes, I definitely read the book. But for me, it was extraordinary to be a part of a Stephen King show with J.J. Abrams attached and James Franco and all these people. It was a really special project. But I really thoroughly enjoyed doing the research on the character I was playing. So I was playing Lee Harvey Oswald, and there's just so much to learn about him, and so many, different opinions and ideas, and it was really, I just loved the process of being able to really throw myself into that. Yeah, it was a very, it was definitely a high point in career and a high point in life. It was pretty amazing.
Was it a book that you had read before? Obviously, it got commissioned to a TV series. Are you a fan of Stephen King, or was it that then got you into his work?
Yeah, no, I hadn't read it. I read it when I got the job. I don't know if I'd ever read a Stephen King, actually. I mean, I'd seen some films.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I really loved. I loved, The Green Mile, films like that. Shawshank. It was, those are the things that made me very excited, because I knew if you can capture that sort of magical realism well, those films are quite extraordinary, and they can be timeless film pieces.
So then obviously you said that was your first sort of taste of working in America on such a TV show. It wasn't that long after that you were then involved in The Punisher. Now this is a huge show by Netflix. That must have been something you were really proud of.
Definitely, I'm definitely proud of it. It's a funny one, because I didn't think I would ever work for Marvel. It wasn't really a goal of mine to work for Marvel.
No.
I was so fortunate to be able to work with them. But what was amazing was how readily they went into telling a story about mental illness and being very honest and put in their portrayal of it and not not glamorizing it or whitewashing it. Like I got to tell pretty powerful story which you normally only see in independent cinema. In the Marvel world, within the world of the Punisher, and sort of have a commentary on this sort of vigilanteism and soldiers coming back from war. So it's funnily enough, it's actually become a very, very prideful, something that I'm very proud of to have been a part of and to have got to tell that story. And people, I still get in very interesting conversations with soldiers that have come back and people on the street and just talking about this issue. It's definitely a special project.
And what's it like working on such a big scale project? Obviously with Netflix and the funding and the budget behind that, it was on such a big scale and such a huge production. It must have been pretty mind blowing to be on set.
It was. I mean, I think 11/22 is pretty huge in itself, so I was already ready for that. And then the other thing is, as an actor, each role in some ways are the same, so you approach them the same way. And the larger the budget, I mean, you're probably in a nicer trailer or you have better catering. But outside of that, it's fairly similar, the process, and so it just felt like another job. The only difference was, I guess, I got to work with some really great people. John Bernthal, Ben Barnes, and then the Marvel family. When you get a job with them, you get a phone call and they say, "Welcome to the Marvel family," and it's they're a very welcoming, talented bunch of people. So it makes it a pretty good work environment.
Then obviously last year you were involved as Vince Neil in the Mötley Crüe film. The Dirt is one of my favourite books. I thought it was, absolutely mind-blowing. What was it like being involved in the actual film? Obviously I didn't think it was as bad as the book, and obviously it had to be good viewing. Obviously not all that stuff's going to go on to the actual movie. It seemed quite tame for me. But it's still a great story and something great to be shown about such a great band. But how did this come about for you?
Yeah, wow. That's incredible. It was one of your favorite books. It is an absolutely wild, hedonistic world that we were trying to capture, and they definitely wanted to make it a bit more accessible than the book. That was I have to say that along with Lee Harvey Oswald, those are two roles that when the call came through that I'd gotten the role and that I was going to be doing it. I don't know. It's hard to describe just how exhilarating those phone calls and those experiences are. I was over the moon to be able to play that role and sort of explore that part of myself as far as performance goes and singing and dancing and just the outlandishness of the whole project itself. What these guys did, they had to go so far out on a limb to kind of crack through and break into a very tough industry in Hollywood, and so I was very excited to see if I could find that within myself and within a group of ensemble actors.
Did you get to meet the band and actually have discussions with them, or was that a case of something that you never got the opportunity to do?
Yeah, we met with Vince. I didn't meet him in person until after the project.
Right.
But we jumped on the phone and chatted a bit. Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee came down and they watched. We played 3 songs for them. We did "Take Me to the Top," "Shout at the Devil," and we wanted to do something too. So they came down to New Orleans where we were shooting and sort of went through the holes and just sort of got to have a look at what was going on down there.
And what was it like? Was their feedback really strong for you guys?
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, it was actually really incredible. It was a good boost. Nicky kept saying, he kept just saying, "Mate, you moved exactly like him," and he was. They were both of them were quite shocked by everything that we were doing, and very, very impressed. So it was, I don't know, you can't really get a better opinion than those guys, and so it was very good, and it's just great for us too. You get a bit of wind in your sails, even just talking to those guys and talking to the people that you're sort of telling the story of.
And at the moment, you're over here in London promoting Escape from Pretoria with Daniel Radcliffe. The reviews I've seen already have been really, really strong. Are you excited about this release coming out?
Yeah, mate, I'm very excited. It's very nice to be over here talking about this film because it's very close to my heart. I think it's a very important story. You know, it's a story about two political activists in 1978 in apartheid Africa, South Africa, and they got picked up for their activism and put in jail for 12 years, and then they make a vow that they're going to escape their prison. So the film is about essentially that their escape attempt, and I think what they were standing up for and the humanity of it, struggling for equality, their journey from their own sort of white privilege and their privileged background to really seeing what the government was doing to a huge percentage of its population. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I believe it was that 15% of the vote was white people at the time, and it's a huge percentage of people who weren't really included in the discussion, and it was just a very unequal and cruel regime. So I just think it's a very powerful, important story to be telling. So I'm very, very happy and very proud to be over here talking about it.
And what was it like working so close with Daniel Radcliffe? Because you two are obviously the main part of this film. I'm sure you spent a lot of time together. Did you kind of hit it off straight away?
Yeah, man. It was really easy. I don't know. Everybody keeps asking me that question. It was not. There was no process to it really. As soon as we jumped in and met each other, we were very friendly, and we instantly went into rehearsals with Francis Annan, our director, and we had a week together, just Dan and I, and then a third person who was involved in the escape group, played by Mark Winter, came and joined us in the second week, and we just formed this bond quite naturally through this process of just talking about the film, talking about our characters, and then spending time with each other, going out for dinners and drinks. It was just it seemed very organic, and we really didn't have to think too much about it.
That sounds really promising and really good, and obviously we're only a couple of weeks away from this film coming out now, and I'm sure it's going to do really, really well because the early reviews are fantastic.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I signed on to this project because of the story, but also because Francis, our director, had such clarity to his vision and the storytelling and how he wanted to present this. I mean, he was on board of this for 8 years, writing, helping getting it funded, finding obviously the actors. He just has the most thorough knowledge, and that's when I met him, I had pages of questions. And I was unsure about him as a director because he's a first-time director, and so I had a whole host of things that I wanted to talk to him about, and he had such a thorough knowledge of what he was saying. Every answer was like an essay that by the end of it, I just knew that this was the only person who could have told the story.
That's really promising, isn't it? Especially if you were kind of a bit dubious at first and thinking, "Oh, how's this going to turn out?" And then you're so proud of how it actually did come out. Then at least it's a good positive end for it all.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. He was just, he's just a very, very articulate, intelligent, when it comes to this sort of subject matter.
And what's the rest of the year looking like for you? Have you got anything projects that you're working on at the moment, or anything you're about to sign on to?
Yeah, nothing that I can talk about right now, but yeah, there's a couple of things in the pipeline. I should be kicking off, in April on some things, but they haven't been fully announced yet, so I probably shouldn't talk about them.
No problem. We'll get you back on when you can.
Yeah, sounds good.
And my final question is, this is what I ask all people that have been on the podcast. If you're a film star, you're an actor, you're a director, but what advice do you give to people that listen to the podcast that are trying to make a name for themselves in the industry when it's so hard to be an actor nowadays and get noticed?
It's a good question. What advice? I'm always very hesitant about giving advice, but I would say that it's not easy and that you have to work extremely hard and that it is possible. But I think I think you just need to get good at what you do. So for a start, you need to just study and work with as many talented people as you can, and find any projects around you, whether they're plays or short films or commercials or films, and then you should just do them when you're starting out is really hard to get any work, and you're just trying to get anything around you. So basically, got to build up what you are about and who you are as a performer, as an actor. So working and figuring that out for yourself will give you confidence, will give you credentials essentially into the business, and help you sort of craft a career for yourself. So I would say chase that as much as possible, and then once you do pick up, you can be a little bit more selective and try and find that chase the projects that you've got something personal that you can really add to, that that are important stories for you personally, because I think that's what we all respond to. We respond to films and stories that people have written from the heart, and who basically that come from them in some way.
So there it is. There's my interview with me and Daniel Webber. What a great guy, and I think he has a huge career ahead of him. For his age, to have some of those roles already secured, I honestly think that he's going to have so many opportunities come up, and I can't wait to see the sort of roles that he gets into. The Dirt was the one that I think really got everyone noticing, but then since going back and watching The Punisher and stuff like that, you really see this guy's got so much to offer. The range in his acting is brilliant, and again, as I mentioned at today's episode, 11/22/63 is an amazing series. Go and check it out, and check out Daniel's work. And obviously the most recent release, which you can go and see now, Escape from Pretoria, is out there. So go and check it out, see what you think. As always, I want to take the time to thank you all for listening to this episode. I hope you're all okay and safe during lockdown. I hope everyone's being good. I will keep the episodes coming, and at the moment, with everyone being locked down, it's a good opportunity to get as many interviews as I can secured in there, ready to edit and give you. So what I'm asking is people to keep supporting me on Patreon. At the moment, I've lost a few people, which I completely understand, because people have obviously been furloughed in work or maybe been made redundant. But those that have stuck by me, I really appreciate it. And if you're new to Mark and Me and want to get involved and support this project, the best thing to do is go on markandme.com. On there's my links to my Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram. You can personally email me as well. But the Patreon page is really needing some support at the moment, because it gives me the opportunity to get more and more episodes done, more interviews recorded, and then more episodes for you guys to listen to. So I really do appreciate the support more than ever right now. And there's also opportunities that I give back. So I don't just make sure I take the money and that's it. I give opportunities to win amazing prizes. Most recently we had some Nico Masseratis signed Blu-rays, we've had some Funkos, we've had t-shirts. The guys at Last Exit to Nowhere are getting involved and giving the episodes loads of cool t-shirts, so it really is a good time. So like I said, go on markandme.com, all the links are on there, and what I'll be back in a week's time with a brand new episode. So stay safe, and I'll speak to you all then.
Coming home to your tender, sweet loving. You're my one and only woman. The world leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, girl. You're the only one that I want. Wanna be around. Wanna be around, girl. Wanna be around, girl. Ooh, wanna be around. Baby, I would be grieving if you wanted to leave me all alone by myself. I don't want nobody else. The world leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, girl. You're the only one that I want. Wanna be around. Wanna be around, girl. Wanna be baby, 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 I'm coming home to your tender, sweet loving. You're my one and only one. The world needs a bitter taste in my mouth, girl. You're the only one that I want.